In October 2024, something quietly dropped on Tubi that made over 2 million people stop scrolling and stare. Red Skelton, The Farewell Specials, Uncensored. For more than 40 years, the most powerful footage from those tapings had been locked away, labeled by the network as too emotional to ever air. In it, the great clown of American television turned his final performance into something closer to a confession than a show. Red didn't just act, he talked directly to the camera as if it were his therapist. Unraveling family tragedies, career regrets, and personal failures with a naked honesty, viewers later said, felt like reading someone's private diary. To understand why this mattered, you have to start with the boy he was. Born the 18th of July, 1913, in a tiny shack in Vincennes, Indiana, Red arrived just weeks after his father, a circus clown with the Hagenbeck-Wallace Circus, died of heart failure at 37. His mother was left alone with 4 sons, no money and no safety net. They lost their small store, depended on neighbors just to eat, and Red went to school in ragged clothes, hungry and humiliated. He discovered early that a laugh could soften almost anything. Comedy didn't begin as a career dream. It was the only shield a poor kid had against shame. At 7, he was selling newspapers on street corners, singing songs and cracking jokes so people might buy one more copy. By 10, he was carrying ice, delivering cigars, scrubbing laundry, anything for a few coins, and watching other families pawn wedding rings for bread. His education was scattered, but each chuckle he pulled from strangers became a lesson he never forgot. At 10, he ran off with a traveling medicine show, hawking fake cure-alls for $10 a week and sleeping in barns. He sent his earnings home and learned that even a clumsy fall like the night he slipped and smashed a glass display could become gold if you leaned into the laughter. For 4 years, he absorbed every trick he could. Juggling, dialects, pantomime, timing, the art of being poor without becoming bitter. He never knew his father, only stories about a man in grease paint worn down by exhaustion. And that hole in his life became the engine of his comedy. At 15, with $1.35 in his pocket and his mother's quiet blessing, he hitchhiked to Chicago, chasing burlesque and vaudeville work. He joined circuses, club acts, and a silent troupe called the Merry Mutes, learning to tell entire stories with his face and body because he wasn't allowed to speak on stage. Soon came talking acts, impressions, and in 1934, his marriage to sharp teenage writer Edna Stillwell, who became his manager and collaborator. Together they created Guzzler's Gin, a drunk routine that blew up in Chicago, leading to big-money bookings during the Depression. On radio, he invented Clem Cadiddlehopper, a slow-talking country bumpkin Americans instantly loved, and by 1941, The Red Skelton Show was pulling in 20 million listeners a week. Fame grew, but so did the cost. He collapsed from exhaustion in 1943, lost fortunes, gambling, and at MGM became a bankable film star while privately unraveling. The deepest blow came when his young son Richard died of leukemia at 9. Red kept performing, but friends noticed a darkness in his eyes that never left. His TV show, launched in 1951, turned into a national ritual. Freddie the Freeloader, Clem, the mean Whittle Kid characters that blended slapstick with a surprisingly tender soul. His marriages cracked, his finances imploded more than once. He battled alcohol and depression, and in later years, he retreated into painting thousands of canvases, many of them of Freddie, as a way to survive his grief. He died in 1997, but his work refused to disappear. Lost Kinescopes, censored sketches about race and justice, and hundreds of hours of unseen material gradually resurfaced. Then Tubi's 2024 release revealed the most intimate layer yet. Extended, 4K restored footage from his 1981-82 specials, where Red dropped the mask mid-Freddy sketch and started talking not as a clown, but as a broken son and grieving father. He admitted stealing gags as a teenager from circus scripts just to escape poverty. He spoke of a father he never knew and a boy he never got to watch grow up. His hands trembled, his voice cracked, and for once the audience wasn't laughing, they were listening. That, more than anything, is why the footage was finally released. Not just to remember a clown, but to show the man whose entire life had been an attempt to turn his own pain into everyone else's comfort.